Everyone, let me say something up front. It's time to stop depending on others to create the life you want. Harsh? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. We live in a world that makes it easy to point fingers, wait for a handout, or hope someone will save the day. But the truth is this: no one is coming to rescue you. If you're tired of being stuck, broke, unhappy, or unnoticed, then get up, take control, and make the change yourself. Taking ownership of your life is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. It's the foundation of self-respect, progress, and real success. When you own your decisions, your mistakes, your actions, and your reactions, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your future. It's easy to blame others, your parents, your boss, your past, or even society. But here's the raw truth. Blaming gives away your power. It might feel good for a moment to say, "It's not my fault," but it keeps you stuck. Growth begins the moment you say, "It's on me." When you take full responsibility, you don't wait around for life to happen. You make it happen. You no longer depend on someone else to fix your problems. You become the one who makes the call, who takes the step, who finds the way. That doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy or that every outcome will be perfect, but it does mean that you now hold the steering wheel. Even when things go wrong, you're the one who gets to adjust, to learn, to redirect. That's real power. Not having control over everything, but having control over how you respond and what you do next. Owning your choices also forces you to face uncomfortable truths. Maybe you stayed in a toxic relationship too long. Maybe you've been lazy. Maybe you've let fear control you. It's hard to admit, but necessary. You cannot change what you won't own. And here's the secret. Once you own it, you can change it. You can't fix what you pretend isn't broken. But when you face it head on, when you say, "Yes, I messed up, but I will do better," you begin to grow. Ownership means no more waiting for the perfect time or blaming bad luck. You become a person who acts in spite of fear. Someone who shows up when it's hard, and someone who learns from every setback. Life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. This mindset separates those who wish from those who win. It also builds character. People respect those who take responsibility. You show others and yourself that you're reliable, accountable, and worthy of trust. You become someone who follows through, who doesn't duck when things get hard. That confidence starts showing up in how you speak, how you walk, how you work, and eventually it shows up in your results. No one is perfect. You will fall. You will fail. But if you're someone who owns every step, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you'll always rise stronger. Ownership isn't just about control. It's about maturity. It's about saying, "This is my life, and I will not hand over the keys to anyone else." When you truly take ownership, you don't just take control, you take command. And that is where transformation begins. Nobody owes you anything. It's a simple statement, but one of the hardest truths to accept. Deep down, many people carry a quiet expectation that life or others will eventually reward them because they worked hard, because they were kind, and use success, happiness, or recognition just because you believe you deserve it. The world doesn't owe you a job, a relationship, an apology, or a second chance. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you'll start building a life that isn't based on disappointment or resentment. We've all felt let down. Maybe you helped someone for years, and when you needed support, they vanished. Maybe you worked tirelessly and got passed over. Maybe you were loyal, and someone betrayed you. That hurts, but it doesn't entitle you to anything. No one is obligated to repay your effort, return your love, or meet your expectations. Relationships, opportunities, and success are not transactions. They are earned, nurtured, and often unpredictable. If you do something for someone with the hope of getting something back, you're not giving. And that's a recipe for frustration. This mindset of expecting something from others often stems from a false sense of entitlement. We start believing that because we did things right, rewards should follow. But life is not a vending machine where you insert kindness and get results. Sometimes you do everything right and still fail. Sometimes you're generous and still get taken for granted. That doesn't mean you stop being kind or working hard. It just means you shift your focus from what you deserve to what you control. When you let go of the idea that someone owes you something, you start taking real responsibility for your life. You stop waiting for praise, permission, or payback. You start doing things because they align with your values, not because you're chasing a reward. That's freedom. That's maturity. It's the mindset that separates people who make progress from those who stay stuck. This doesn't mean you stop trusting or helping others. It means you don't build your emotional foundation on whether others deliver. You give because it's who you are, not because you expect applause. You love because it's how you choose to live, not because someone has to love you back. You work hard because your goals matter to you, not because the world is keeping score. Letting go of entitlement is not about lowering your standards. It's about raising your self-respect. When you truly understand that nobody owes you anything, you stop blaming others, and you stop waiting, you start becoming. You create your own chances, build your own strength, and write your own story. And ironically, that's when the world starts responding to you, not because it owes you, but because you've become someone worth noticing, not someone stuck waiting. Freedom begins the moment you stop expecting and start owning. In today's world, networking is often praised as a golden ticket to success. We're told to build connections, grow our circle, and know the right people. And while relationships do matter, doors can open through conversations and opportunities can emerge from who you know. There's one reality that too many people ignore. If you don't have the skills, the doors won't stay open. Connections might get you in the room, but only your competence will keep you there. Relying too much on others, whether it's for introductions, recommendations, or handouts, can become a crutch. It creates a false sense of progress. Just because you know someone influential doesn't mean you're prepared for the opportunity when it comes. You can be the most well-connected person in the room, but if you can't deliver when it matters, your reputation falls apart. That's why you must build your own skills. Real, tangible, undeniable abilities that speak louder than your resume or your social following. Skill is your foundation. It doesn't matter whether you're an artist, an entrepreneur, a coder, a speaker, or a chef. If you can master your craft, no one can take that from you. In fact, people start to seek you out. You don't have to chase every connection or constantly ask for favors. When you're excellent at what you do, word spreads. Opportunities begin to find you because you've earned them. And that's real leverage. Too many people spend time polishing their LinkedIn or attending networking events without spending enough time in the lab, learning, failing, practicing, and refining their craft. They expect that having the right mentor or being noticed by someone successful will change everything. But mentors and connections are not shortcuts. They enhance your journey, but they cannot replace the work. They may offer advice or open a few doors, but if you step through those doors unprepared, it will show, and you won't get a second chance. People like you. You start walking into rooms knowing you belong there. That doesn't come from handshakes. It comes from hustle, discipline, and a relentless drive to get better. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or ignore relationships. But it does mean you stop depending on people to carry you. Instead, you invest in yourself. You read, practice, study, experiment, and get uncomfortable. You become your own engine. Because in the end, emotional independence is one of the most underrated strengths a person can develop. In a world where approval is craved, validation is sought through likes and comments, and many depend on others to feel good about themselves, being emotionally self-sufficient sets you apart. It means not relying on someone else to complete you. It means being able to manage your own emotions, understand your own worth, and move through life without needing constant emotional support to stay grounded. That doesn't mean you become cold or detached. It doesn't mean you shut people out or pretend you don't care. Emotional independence isn't about being emotionally numb. It's about being emotionally stable. It's the ability to regulate your feelings, recover from setbacks, and stand tall even when things around you feel uncertain. When you don't need someone else to tell you you're enough, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of chasing approval. Relying too heavily on others emotionally can be dangerous. When your happiness, confidence, or peace of mind is tied to someone else's behavior, words, or mood, you give them power over your life. If they praise you, you feel good. If they withdraw, criticize, or leave, you crumble. That's a fragile way to live. Emotional independence means you stop outsourcing your self-worth. You become the source of your own validation. You trust your decisions. You understand that feelings are not facts, and that not every negative emotion deserves a reaction. This strength becomes even more important in relationships. When two emotionally independent people come together, they don't complete each other. They complement each other. There's no constant need for reassurance or fear of abandonment. Each person brings a full sense of self to the table, which allows love to grow without suffocation. But if one of the most empowering things you can do in life is to make decisions without waiting for permission. Too many people delay their goals, silence their instincts, and play small because they're waiting for someone to approve, to agree, to validate their path. But the truth is, no one knows your journey better than you. And if you keep waiting for the world to tell you it's okay to move, you'll be standing still forever. You don't need permission to start that business, change careers, walk away from toxic relationships, or reinvent yourself completely. You don't need to explain your dreams to people who won't understand them. And you definitely don't need everyone's blessing to do what feels right in your soul. The longer you wait for someone to co-sign your decision, the more control you hand over to others who are not responsible for living your life. This habit of asking for permission often comes from childhood or early experiences. Being taught to follow the rules, to seek approval, to avoid mistakes. But while those lessons may have kept you safe or light, they won't make you bold. And boldness is what turns a life of what-ifs into a life of progress. The people you admire, the ones who build, lead, and create, didn't wait for someone to say, "Now you're ready." They decided they were ready. And they moved even when it was scary. Making decisions without permission doesn't mean you act carelessly or ignore wise advice. It means you trust yourself enough to lead your own life. You listen, you learn, you weigh your options, but at the end of the day, you choose for you. It's the difference between living by default and living by design. Because when you're always checking in with others before making a move, you end up building a version of life that reflects their fears, not your vision. There will be people who question you, people who think your choices are too risky, too different, too fast. But remember this, most people give advice from their own limits. Don't let their doubt shrink your ambition. If you feel it in your gut, if you've done the work, if your heart is screaming go, then go. Permission is a prison if you don't realize the door was open all along. You get one life, and the longer you spend asking others what you should do with it, the more of it slips away. Own your decisions. Own the mistakes that might come with them. Because even a mistake you made on your own is better than a safe life chosen for you. Stop waiting to be picked. Stop waiting to be told it's time. You're not here to be approved. You're here to become. So choose. Act. Move. You don't need permission. You need courage. And that starts the moment you stop asking and start deciding. At some point in life, many of us look back and wish someone had been there for us in a certain way. Maybe you needed someone to believe in you when no one did, to guide you when you were lost, to protect you, encourage you, or simply tell you that you were enough. Maybe you needed support, but got silence. Maybe you needed love, but got rejection. Whatever it was, that gap, that absence left a mark. But here's the powerful truth. Instead of carrying that wound forever, you can choose to become the person you once needed. This isn't about pretending the past didn't hurt. It's about using that pain as fuel. It's about looking at the younger version of yourself, the one who felt small, scared, or invisible, and saying, "I've got you now." You can't go back and rewrite the past, but you can make sure someone else, including your future self, doesn't have to feel that same emptiness.